Welcome to the Daily Thunder podcast. I am your host, Brandon Rahbar, beat writer for dailythunder.com. Every week, we will have two different guests, ranging from national sports writers and local reporters to OKC celebrities and Thunder staff and players. Our featured guest this week is Jesse James Larch, host of the Philadelphia 76ers podcast, Garbage into Gold, which is a part of the Philadelphia Sports Nation Network. We will preview the upcoming 76ers versus Thunder game and compare and contrast Philly's trust the process rebuild to the current state of the Thunder. We'll also be joined by Spenser Davis, an Oklahoma Sooners sports writer for the Dallas Morning News, host of Pod on the Prairie podcast, say that 3 times fast, and contributor to Daily Thunder. We will also count down the top 19 biggest Oklahoma City Thunder moments of 2019. Thank you for listening to the Daily Thunder podcast. I have with us now Jesse James Larch. And first thing I want to ask you is it really Jesse James, or did you just add the James because it sounds cool?
No, that's actually my middle name. That's my dad's first name, and I think my parents just thought it sounded cool when I was born, so they went with it.
Oh, your parents were right. So, Jesse, I want to talk about the similarities and parallels of what the 76ers were in the beginning stages of the process and what the Thunder are now. What do you see similarity-wise and maybe some differences?
I'm not sure exactly how similar it is. I feel like the Thunder right now do still have some established players. You might be like a year or two away from that point where the process really got into full gear. And even then, I think the Thunder are set up in a better position than the Sixers were at that time, because the Sixers kind of completely cleaned house, and for lack of going too deep into it, it was a team of G League players. It was hardly an NBA team, where I think the Thunder do have a lot of NBA talent, some young NBA talent, and the draft pick compensation they have sitting there for them too really has them set up to rebuild quick.
Right. And I think that's a perfect answer. If he goes as hard as Hinkie did, do you think that Sam Presti is more insulated from kind of the pressures to stop tanking?
I think Adam Silver's on the hunt for it more now because of Sam Hinkie. So I'm not sure he'll be able to get away with as aggressive of an overhaul. I mean, there's not anything they can really do to stop it. Like, it's clear there's going to be some teams that aren't going to make the playoffs. Building through the draft is the best way to build a team. So how much can you really curb it? That I'm not sure of. But as I just said, unless the Thunder start to make moves and get rid of guys like Steven Adams and Chris Paul, which Chris Paul might be a little bit more likely, I don't really see it going as severe as the Sixers did, where, you're winning 10 games in a season. I think the Thunder will be more competitive than that. And then I think because of what they have behind them with those draft picks and with whichever cap space becomes available later, they'll be able to turn the corner from being like a bottom of the road team to suddenly being a bit more of a threat. So like I said, I don't think it's going to be like the total 180. I think you're going to see a nice gradual change. And it's going to be a bit more of the kind of thing Adam Silver wants teams to do. Even if I don't think it's realistic for every team, I think Sam Presti just did a really good job of taking a bad situation and making it work in his favor.
Yeah, I honestly think that Paul George, in hindsight, did Sam Presti a big favor, honestly. Kind of started this whole thing. I think the Thunder were kind of capped at what they were, which was a really good team that probably wasn't going to win it all anyways, and they couldn't really do anything because of salary cap restrictions, and now the whole thing is kind of opened up. I got a question, though. You talked about how the Thunder probably won't bottom out like the 76ers did completely because of the talent currently on the team. So it's kind of a different rebuild. How hard, though, was it as a 76ers fan to go through those lean years where you just weren't winning anything at all? And, you're supposed to trust the process, but was it hard to?
For me, it wasn't. So the way I always explain it is I'm the kind of person that, I don't play a lot of video games, but the only games I like to play are sports games. And whether it be Madden or FIFA or 2K or whatever I'm playing, my tendency is to always take a lower level team or take a good team and sell off all their assets so they become a bad team.
Nice.
And kind of totally rebuild a team. So that idea of such a severe rebuild that you can really only do in video games happening to the team I follow really got me interested. Also, at that time, the Sixers were in a period where it was, I believe, like Tony DeLeo and Ed Stefanski were the previous people in charge. And it was just a lot of no direction, a lot of like middling moves, a team that was going to forever be like a 7 and 8 seed and never really get past that. So at least with Hinkie, suddenly the team had a direction. And the one thing Hinkie did right is he was very forthcoming, and he pretty much told the fan base, we're going to be bad for a little while.
Right.
But we're going to come out of it on the other side as a very serious contender. And that's what ultimately happened, even though he got ousted before he was able to see it through. And then you could even debate, would they have gotten to the level they're at now had Hinkie still been in charge?
Well, it's kind of scary, though, from the standpoint of the 76ers obviously hit big time on Embiid and Simmons, but there were a lot of misses, and those were with, big time picks, top picks. So the draft is not a sure thing, but it's still, when you come down to it, the best way to become a contender is to acquire top 5 picks and draft, unless you're, LA or one of the big market teams that has a lot of cap space and get free agents. If you're in Oklahoma City, the best way is going to be through the draft. So I think the parallels are really fun, especially with the 76ers and Thunder playing this coming up Monday. And, we're kind of going through this weird transition period. Every time that we play the 76ers, I think that we all kind of think, oh, are we going that way? And what's the process going to be for this new Thunder team? So speaking of the game, though, just the matchup this Monday, OKC versus Philadelphia. What's your thoughts on just the matchup in the game? You guys are contenders right now, and the Thunder are this weird in-between phase where they've somehow overachieved and are solidly in the 7th spot in the West. What do you think of the game?
So the game's going to be, just because the Sixers are slumping right now, and they have this tendency that they're trying to work out of where they play down to their competition. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, the Sixers should be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league, and they haven't played like it so far this year.
Right.
Part of it is they have a tendency to be resting players, whenever they're on the road. I think less than half of the games we've actually had the designated starting 5 intact due to either, minor injuries or guys resting for load management or whatever they're calling it now. Just for things like that, the starting 5 hasn't been together. And when it has been together, it's been like dominant outings. And then they also have this issue where they can't play on the road for whatever reason, which has kind of been the MO under Brett Brown, even since the Sixers have become contenders, is they're just not road warriors. They're a fantastic home team. They're almost unbeatable at home. There's been that wrinkle thrown in with the 3-2 zone that's suddenly given the Sixers tons of fits that they can't work out of. And it's like the chemistry just hasn't come together yet. So you get a team like the Thunder who are young and hungry. They know what they're walking into. You even have the added benefit of that veteran edge with a guy like Chris Paul. I don't know Embiid's status for the game. I know he just missed the New Year's Eve game against Indiana. And, I mean, that ended up being a demolition. Indiana absolutely destroyed the Sixers. So as far as with it being in Philly, I would expect the Sixers to win that one. If they don't, I mean, the boos are going to get loud because there's a lot of unrest in the city with them right now.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Every time that Embiid's out and the 76ers lose by so much, I'm just like, but you guys, you still have so much talent. Like, how's this team losing? So, like, how does one guy out and it just destroys the whole team? Because there should be plenty of talent still on that team. Last question I wanted to ask you, though. Has this matchup lost some juice, you think, with Russell Westbrook being gone? I mean, I don't know how it was on your end in Philly, but I know here in OKC, Thunder fans really look forward to those matchups, and they really like that rivalry of Russ versus Embiid, and it just provided this whole other layer to the game. It's kind of a game within the game, and what's going to happen with Embiid and Russ. Was it kind of the same way with you guys, or was it just kind of like, that's a West team, they're not really on our radar?
No, we were well aware of it. And I mean, I love to hate Russell Westbrook.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to say he isn't a great talent, because he is. It's just one of those guys where, it's very fun to hate him. Yeah. And he made it easy to do as well, because he would come in, he loves to run his mouth, and Embiid runs his mouth right back at him. And the whole fun of it is that Russ took it so to heart that whatever Embiid would say to him, Russ would just totally lose his mind. And it would either result in Russ dominating the game and getting the Thunder a win, or him playing the Thunder out of the game and the Sixers cruising to victory. So it was like this, what are we going to get tonight kind of thing. It was really fun to watch.
It really was. It was almost like kind of like a WWF like game within the game between those two. And Russ's replacement Shai, he's just like the sweetest guy. That's never gonna happen again. Russ is always gonna be a hero here in Oklahoma City. But I know, being on the other side of that, if I was a 76ers fan, I'd probably absolutely love to hate him as well.
And you mentioned Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mentioned in our messages before coming on here that the Thunder have one of my favorite up-and-coming players. I mean, I loved him coming out of Kentucky.
Nice.
I thought he wasn't a guy jumping off the board to anybody, but he was a guy that checked a lot of boxes. He's kind of like a jack-of-all-trades player.
Right.
And I think you guys are getting to see him develop that skill set further, which to me, and especially, again, having a guy like Chris Paul in front of him right now to help kind of guide him, I think is a really good role model for him. So, I mean, I'm excited to get to watch him play and, get to watch a whole game of him because I haven't totally gotten the chance to yet since he's come in the league. I've just seen little bits here and there.
That's cool. I'm excited that you're such a fan of Shai because, obviously Oklahoma City's kind of fallen in love with him right now, and we see the potential. Well, this has been Jesse James Larch of Garbage Into Gold podcast. It's a part of the Philadelphia Sports Nation Network. It's always fun to hear from, kind of the other side, the other voice, especially with what's going on in Oklahoma City with the possibly new trust the process phase building here in Thunder Nation. So we appreciate you coming on, Jesse, and keep doing your good work, man.
All right. Thanks. You too.
And now it's time on the Daily Thunder podcast to count down the top 19 Thunder moments of 2019.
19 and 19. I see what you did there.
Whoa, Rachel.
Hi, Brandon. Happy New Year.
That was jarring. I'm doing the show, been hanging out with these guys. All of a sudden, this lady voice pops up.
This is what I'm doing in the new year. I'm just popping up.
So you're going to hang out with me for this countdown?
Let's do it.
This is our producer, Rachael Jamison. She's going to sit in on this countdown. Here's the only rules, Rachel. Had to happen between January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2019. So this is going to be a mishmash of the end of last year, the beginning of this year, and that infamous roller coaster of a summer that happened in between.
That was a rough summer, Brandon.
These are going to be moments that made us sad, made us happy, made us cry. Tears of joy, tears of happiness.
Both joy and happiness?
Anger. This is basically going to be, it's going to be like Inside Out.
Oh, we're going to feel a lot of happy, sad feelings right now?
That's exactly right.
Okay, let's do it, Brandon.
The top 19 moments of 2019. Number 19, drafting Darius Bazley at number 23 overall in the NBA draft. Okay, rewind your mind to the NBA draft. Remember, people were freaking out about this draft pick because, the Thunder were supposed to be a contender, so everybody wanted somebody that could contribute right away. You had Rush, you had PG, and Sam Presti took this kid who was 19. He was raw. He hadn't played basketball in a year. He was working at New Balance. People were like, who is this guy? But once again, Sam Presti proves that he's smarter than all of us, Rachel, including you.
Always.
And now everybody loves Darius. I mean, he's such a funny guy. He cooks. He's got ball skills. He can shoot, it looks like. He can rebound. He can block. And he's 19, and he's 6'9", and he's got handles.
And he's the official Fresh Prince of OKC, Brandon.
I feel like I got Olivia on this show again. I don't care what she says, you say, or Shai says. Shai's the Fresh Prince. Number 18, Paul George's 4-point game winner against the 76ers.
It's hard to score 4 points at once, Brandon.
Yeah, it is. But Paul George did it. There's been a lot of game winners. Okay, so Paul George kind of had a reputation for not being clutch. He'd never hit a game winner before he came to Oklahoma City.
That's how you get that rep.
It is. And so, but then he got to OKC, and as the Thunder do, we produce game-winning moments.
We like to keep it tight, so we give you a lot of opportunities to hit that game-winning shot.
That is true. So PG hit a few. His reputation started kind of turning, and he started earning that whole, Gatorade meme of no OT tonight. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Throwing it back to 2019 with that one.
But I'd never seen before a 4-point game winner. I'd seen plenty of 3-point game winners, but to get fouled on a game-winning 3-point shot, get the extra shot. I know, PG is long gone now, but it was an epic moment at the time.
It was big.
Especially on the road against Philly. Number 17, I have actually a 3-pointer that beats that 4-pointer. Are you ready for it?
Give it to me.
It happened in the preseason, and yet it's more epic than a road win against Philly.
Oh, Brandon, I think I remember this moment.
Steven Adams hitting a 3-pointer in preseason.
Yes, he did.
Thunder Twitter shut down.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah, it was like the first play. It was a set play.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, whoa. So is this year? Is this year Steven Adams is going to be taking threes? The first play they ran was a Steven Adams 3. I got news for you. Nope. That's it. That's all we're going to see of it.
But I will say, if that shot was an omen for the season, we should have seen this upswing coming.
That's true. It was a good sign for the season.
It was.
But how do you like tease the fans like that? Like the first play you run in preseason, and then you don't ever go back to it. And it was 100% successful.
That's what I'm saying. That's probably what Steven thought.
Yeah, he's like, don't screw with my stats. Like I got
100% success, 3-point shooting.
Number 16, Russell Westbrook passes Gary Payton to become the franchise all-time leading scorer. Okay, so this obviously includes the Supersonics days, and it was a big deal, but it was kind of strangely not really talked about all that much. But again, this was a big deal. The most beloved player, obviously, in franchise history. Well, not if you ask Seattle fans. Of the past decade, the most beloved player. We all wanted to see Russ take that spot. And really kind of the bigger moment was when he passed Kevin Durant to become number 2. To me, that was a bigger moment. And why is that, Rachel?
Because Gary Payton's not a snake.
I was hoping you'd say FKD, but I'll accept that as well. Okay, number 15, Paul George finishes 3rd in the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year voting. Again, PG's long gone. Yes, he requested a trade and all that, but you got to remember at the time, that was a big deal. He played all these years in Indiana. He came to Oklahoma City. People are like, is he going to like being here? And then, of course, some people are like, oh, can he play next to Russ? Is he going to be, successful playing with the ball hog? And then he goes out and has his best year ever. And even though he was never going to pass Harden or Giannis, at one point there was chatter that maybe, like at the height of his little MVP campaign before he got his shoulder injuries, he was really in the conversation.
He was in the conversation. Yeah, it was early, but he was in that conversation.
And I would actually say he was the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year until he got hurt. That's actually 2 years in a row, probably. Andre Robertson the year before, and then he got hurt, and then PG got hurt. Maybe would have had 2 straight Defensive Player of the Years if not for injuries.
In retrospect, this doesn't seem that exciting, but at the time, it was a huge deal.
It was. Now, I got something that was exciting at the time and still is exciting when you think about it. Number 14, to me, the best moment so far of this Thunder season when it comes down to just one single play. The Steven Adams, a.k.a. Joe Montana, to Dennis Schroeder, a.k.a. Jerry Rice, touchdown pass with 1.1 seconds left on the clock against the Minnesota Timberwolves that put the game into overtime. Shai took over in overtime. We won the game. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, how could you forget it, Brandon? That was amazing. If you've ever stood on an NBA basketball court and just looked at how far, it's impressively far.
It's like 30 yards.
It's amazing.
It's like 30 yards, which is a deep pass. But to throw with that pinpoint accuracy, it was right into the outstretched hand of a Schroeder. He threw it right over the defender Teague where he couldn't get it. Only Schroeder could get it. Then he laid it. It was beautiful.
He would have made Uncle Rico proud.
Yes, he would. You think Steven Adams could throw a football over the mountains?
No doubt about it.
Number 13. Russ records 11 straight triple-doubles in a streak that lasted from January 22nd to Valentine's Day, February 14th. This was an NBA record. I think that everybody just kind of took for granted, like, oh, if it's a triple-double record, Russ has it.
It's just what he does.
Right. But this is a big deal. The most in a row, so just another notch on his triple-double belt. I feel like every triple-double record, he should have it. And he took it.
Doesn't he? Doesn't he now?
Except for most all time. He's got to play a little bit longer before he gets that, but he has pretty much everything
Give
else.
him 6 months.
Number 12. Now, this isn't one particular moment, this is going to be a different time for each of us. It's going to be a different moment for me, different moment for you, different moment for the people listening. Falling in love with Chris Paul. Now, if you would have told me, I don't know, 6 months ago that I would fall in love with this dude who with the Clippers, all the antics, all the nut punching, with the Rockets, all the flopping, the dude drove me crazy. Yeah, he started his career in Oklahoma City and with the Hornets, but he was like one of the all-time, to me, like most annoying players, and my hypocrisy knows no bounds. Now I just look at it as like, oh yeah, that's a smart, savvy veteran move.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's Chris Paul. Of course, he's a savvy vet. He's a high IQ player, Brandon.
Exactly. He just knows what he's doing. He knows the rules.
He knows about those untucked shirts.
Yeah, he does.
Savvy vet moves. Actually, I think that untucked shirt thing may have been my moment for Chris Paul, where he was like, yep, I know the rules.
Well, and I love how he owned it. Yeah,
know,
I'm just
great.
smarter than you.
I think that was the moment that I was like, all right, Chris Paul, you're in.
Number 11. Okay, from falling in love to heartbreak. Losing Antonio Daniels and Leslie McClaskey from the Thunder broadcast team.
That was a deep hit.
It was. And especially as much as I love Leslie, because she's awesome, I think that all of us felt the Antonio Daniels gut punch even more. I lumped them together, but it's almost like Antonio deserves his own rank. He was just, to me, and I've been doing media and broadcast and radio stuff for years and years and years, he's one of the all-time best just analysts. He's so passionate, knowledgeable, smart, but classy. He's going to make you feel better after a loss.
But he kept it real.
Yes, which a lot of people don't do for their home teams. They'll kind of sugarcoat it. So, and he's with the Pelicans now, and Leslie is taking care of her family and doing stuff with the Rangers.
It was nice to see her. We've seen her pop up this season, so that's cool.
And they both like give us Twitter love and stuff like that. They still, they know the roots. Number 10, the Jeremy Grant trade. We watched Jeremy Grant grow from this raw athlete to this dependable three-point shooter, two-way player, a starter. The guy should have started over Carmelo the first year. Honestly, he took the job from Patrick Patterson the second year. And it hurt losing him because he developed here. And he's become just a really, really good player.
Well, and he looked like a keeper, and that kind of signaled the direction we were headed at that point.
Exactly. That's what hurt the most because, the Paul George trade happened, and you're like, okay, that sucks. But there was this thought that maybe...
I mean, you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
Maybe Presti's just going to retool. But once he traded Jeremy, you realize, okay, no, it's a full rebuild. We're getting rid of all the players we can for assets. And it was a smart move. He was expiring, but man, he was young and developing. He would have fit the rebuild, but you can't lose him for nothing. No. Yeah. And Jeremy, he was such a sweet guy too. Such a good guy. Okay, number 9, the Thunder beat the Clippers, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander outplays Paul George.
Yeah, he did.
This is my favorite game of the year.
Revenge game.
It was so cathartic. After the trade, after PG requesting out, yes, we gave him a big ovation. I think he deserved it. I don't know. I see both sides of it. The people that want to boo, the people that want to cheer. I see both sides. But to see the Thunder beat the Clippers after all that happened, and for the main chip that we got in that trade to actually outplay Paul George, completely outplayed him too. I mean, not just scoring, across the board, he was better than him in all facets that night. To me, it was the best win of the season.
I mean, it's like going out and running into your ex. You want to be with somebody that's like looking better than they do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
saying.
saying.
She was looking fine that night. Number 8, Russ averages a triple-double for the 3rd straight year. I think that the haters all, we heard it all the time as OKC fans, like, oh, he's a stat patter. Oh, these are meaningless stats. Well, you look at the numbers, the Thunder's win percentage when he got a triple-double is always. Here's the deal. It was amazing. I don't care what the haters say.
That's really, really difficult to do.
Yeah. Oscar Robertson did it one season a long time ago, and it was like, it'll never be done again. Then Russell does it. It's crazy. He does it a second year. Then he does it a 3rd year in a row, and people just kind of took it for granted, like, oh, yeah, whatever. No, it's a big deal. Give him his respect. Number 7, Hamidou Diallo wins the slam dunk contest. Isn't it funny that happened in 2019? That doesn't seem a long time ago.
It really does.
But it was exciting. Obviously sent Russ and PG to the All-Star game, but probably the best moment for Thunder fans was our rookie, our exciting, flashy athlete, Diallo, winning the slam dunk contest. And I think it was kind of nice because we had this pent-up anger all those years because Serge Ibaka really deserved to win it all those years ago when Blake Griffin stole it from him for jumping over the hood of a Kia.
That was ridiculous.
He didn't
even jump over the whole car. Bro.
No, it was a hood.
Get those knees up.
I could jump over a hood of a car.
Let's see it, Brandon.
Okay, I can't. But somebody else could. That's not Blake Griffin. I got some buddies that could probably. But it's nice to finally win the slam dunk contest after all those years. And Diallo absolutely earned it. And a Superman dunk was one of the best dunks of the past few years, I'd say.
Very entertaining.
Number 6, getting the Blazers in the playoffs.
Wow, that felt like a good idea at the time, didn't it? It seemed like, woo, nailed it, guys. This is exactly where we wanted to land.
It was like hitting the jackpot. It was, because Nurkic was hurt and the Thunder beat him 4-0 in the regular season. We're like, we're finally going to get past the first round. Everybody wanted to play the Blazers because everybody kind of felt like that was going to be a bye. They beat us 4-1.
That was hard to watch.
But you got to remember how excited we were at the time to get the Blazers. It didn't work out. Hey, we couldn't see Dame and McCollum going, nuclear. It was ridiculous. They were hitting 40-foot shots, hands in their face. It didn't matter. And, of course, that led to a moment I won't mention. Okay, I'll mention Dame waving goodbye, but it doesn't get its own little spot on here. And now we're at the top 5 Thunder moments of 2019. To me, this was a clear-cut 5. When I made this list, I had no doubt about these. The other ones, you could have argued, but these, clear-cut. Number 5, Nick Collison's jersey retirement. Mr. Thunder, well-deserved. As far as Oklahoma City Thunder fans go, he's a legend. Obviously, you look at the numbers, they're nothing special. You look at his accomplishments, nothing special. But the man absolutely deserved. He was loyal. He stayed with the franchise forever. He's a plus-minus king. He always made the team better. He was a leader, and he absolutely deserved to get his jersey retired.
Do you remember were they the Collison crew? Is that what they were called?
Yeah. Whoa.
Like back in that first season, the guys that were like, did they wear hard hats and like construction vests?
Whoa,
or
this is
something
like a blast
that? I was just saying, like, who has that kind of reaction to a player like Nick Collison? Just this fan base. He was something special to this fan base for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll get a statue. Russ is going to get a statue, but he is definitely jersey retirement tier. Number 4, the Russ 2020 game against the Lakers in dedication to his friend Nipsey Hussle, who had just passed away. That
was one of the biggest bad A moments in Russ history. Who just walks in and is like, I'm going to do this. And then they did it.
Russell Westbrook. There's only, 2 or 3 players, I think, who could say, I'm going to go out and get a 2020.
It's Wednesday. I'm just going to walk into downtown Oklahoma City. I'm going to make history. Just feeling like it tonight for you, Nipsey.
Yeah, that was incredible. Of all the epic stat lines that Russ has put up over the past several years, to me, I know he had like a 50-point triple-double, but to me, the 2020 game is kind of the cream of the crop. Number 3. Okay, again, this is a moment that's going to be different for all of us, but we've all experienced it, and it was, to me, the most important Thunder moment of 2019. It was the realization that Shai is a freaking stud.
That boy good. Real good.
So here's the deal. The trade happened, and the first-round draft picks, all those picks, that was like what was, eye-popping. You're like, whoa, we got a lot of picks. That's crazy. And then you saw Gallinari, and everybody knows he's a great player. And you're like, oh, and Shai, yeah. We didn't know at the time. We had to do a little research. Find out how to say his name.
I called him Shai a few times.
Yeah, it was like that 90s R&B group. Spelled the same way. But then you watch some YouTube highlights. You're like, well, this guy's not bad. He's pretty nice. And then you see what he did against the Warriors in the playoffs. You're like, oh, this rookie was really good. Then you read some quotes from ex-coaches. And you're like, this guy might be a stud.
This is Brandon's process for every player, by the way, though.
Did the same thing with Kyle Singler.
This guy's good.
Man, he won a championship at Duke. He's going to lead us to the NBA title. And then this season starts, and you get to know his personality, and he seems like this cool, sweet, smart guy. But then you see him play, and you start to see that superstar potential. And I don't know for you if it was the first 32-point game. I don't know for you if it was, the first stretch of games where he was the leading scorer. He scored in the 20s, the first stretch of games. I don't know when it was. I don't know if it's, when he took over in overtime against the Timberwolves. But at some point, we all realized that the future is in good hands because of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Number 2, the Paul George trade.
That was pretty big news at the time. It's one of those things like, do you remember where you were?
Yeah. It's like, my mom's generation will remember where they were when JFK was shot. People are going to remember where they were when they found out Michael Jackson was dead, when John Lennon was shot. For Thunder fans, you'll remember where you were when James Harden was traded, and you'll remember what you were doing when you found out about the Paul George trade.
Also, maybe KD might remember that too.
Oh, I'd already forgotten that.
Who?
Obviously, we don't need to go into this. It changed the franchise. It rebooted the Thunder. But I will say this, for all the things you could say about the Paul George trade and the implications, I think in the end, even though losing Russ hurt so much, that it was the best thing for the Thunder. And I think that now the trajectory that we're on and the next 10 years and how it's set up, it's the best thing that could have happened.
Okay, so Brandon, before you get to your number 1, I actually chose my number 1 moment.
Oh, we have a bonus moment.
Yeah, it's a 20 for 2020.
Oh, yeah, one to grow on.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
So I don't know if you're going to remember this moment, but it was a pretty big one for me personally.
Okay. It's not anything that's been said so far.
No.
Okay.
I can't believe you forgot this moment, Brandon. Maybe it was pretty game changing. Okay. So you remember we played the Warriors this year.
Well, we played them
November.
We played them like 3
times.
times.
The early November game. It was here.
Okay. We played them so many times. Okay, I'm gonna need more. I don't remember anything special that happened so far.
Okay.
Besides beating the Warriors.
Well, that was a pretty big deal. It was the third quarter. About 9 minutes left in the third quarter. We're up 13, 63-50 against the Warriors.
All I know is this is your moment. It has to do with Steven Adams.
It absolutely does.
That's all I know.
Something happens, and Steven Adams' hair, it just comes loose, Brandon. It comes loose. And you know what the Thunder broadcast team did? They put it in slow motion. Oh, yes, and they played it back. And I would like to personally say thank you to the Thunder broadcast team for that slow motion Steven Adams hair flip. That was easily my top moment of 2019.
They should have played like some Enya or Titanic music in the background while
absolutely.
he was doing the slow motion.
Or maybe some sexy saxophone.
Oh, yeah, some Kenny G.
Yeah.
No, so I was at the game, so I didn't get to see the broadcast. I didn't see it happen live.
You didn't see it on Twitter?
I saw it on Twitter later.
Yeah, you did.
But I didn't get to see it live.
It blew up.
Yeah, I if I would have seen it live, maybe it would have had the long-lasting impact on me like it did you.
Guaranteed I'm not the only one with this on my list. Guaranteed.
I don't know how I can follow that up. My number one seems silly compared to that one, honestly.
I know. I'm sorry to wreck your list when we're so close to the end. But all right, let's just hear it anyway.
All right, just to finish the list. Number 1, everybody knew it was going to be. I mean, it's a no-brainer. The Russell Westbrook trade.
Heartbreaking.
Yes. It probably helped that we knew it was going to happen.
But we had
time.
You're not prepared, Brandon.
You're never prepared. But even with the preparation, it still hurt deep. He will always be the most important player in Thunder franchise history. Have there been better players? Probably KD, if you're being completely honest. Will there be better players down the road? Maybe. That said, though, he is by far the most important. He stayed when any other superstar would have left. He was loyal. He was faithful. And he gave us so many great memories on the court. When you look at the Western Conference Finals trips, the Finals trip, the MVP year, all the All-Star appearances, the scoring titles, the assist titles, the triple-doubles, all that stuff was amazing and special. But when it came down to it, what made Russ so special for Oklahoma City and vice versa was the relationship that the city had with the player. It was a special, there's a handful throughout sports where the relationship between player and city is just a special bond, and Russ in Oklahoma has that. And even though he's gone in Houston now, I think that will forever be the case, they'll be forever synonymous, and they'll be forever linked.
Well, and I think that Thunder fans are hoping that when Russ is nearing retirement, he will come back and spend his last year.
Exactly. I think so. He's going to come back, and he's going to play with LeBron James' son, and LeBron's going to come and play with his son, and Shai's going to be in his prime. All these first-round draft picks are going to be in their prime. Oh, yeah.
Brandon, that's like the Avengers.
That's right. That's right. So there you are, the top 19 moments for the Thunder in 2019. Those were some incredible moments. I mean, some really legendary moments. Do you think that 2020 can have 20 moments as great as those 19?
Not unless we can find some really weak hair bands for Steven Adams.
So I am joined now by Spenser Davis, contributor to Daily Thunder. So he's a colleague of mine. I can call him that. He also blogs for the Dallas Morning News, and he is the host of Pod on the Prairie. This guy is all over the place. Spenser Davis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Brandon. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. I'm excited. So for Daily Thunder, so far you've written about draft prospects, and the Thunder draft is a huge mystery. Going into it, I think most Thunder fans thought that this was going to be a tanking year, and we were kind of all looking at top 5 draft picks. Like we were looking at Wiseman, we were looking at Edwards, we were looking at Anthony and all these guys, maybe even LaMelo Ball. But now the Thunder locked into that 7 seed pretty tightly right now, and things are kind of looking like maybe we won't be getting one of those top few picks. Before I get into the questions about specific guys or who you're looking at, where do you think the Thunder ultimately end up as a draft guy?
Oh, I mean, like you said, they're kind of locked into the 7 seed right now. I think they're going to end up making the playoffs, even if, and I do think they're going to end up trading Danilo Gallinari. But I think they can probably make the playoffs if they can get just kind of a salary filler wing back for Gallinari. They can still probably make the 7 or 8 seed. I mean, the bottom of the West has just fallen out this year with the Warriors, obviously, with their injuries. And you've got, the Kings and the Blazers have sorely underperformed, and the Suns have kind of cooled off. And it's just, I mean, it's there for the Thunder to make the playoffs this year. And the way the draft kind of sets up this year, it's probably, if the Thunder were going to make the playoffs one of the next few years, this is the year to do it. Like, this is the year to not be in the lottery, right? I mean, you've got, like you said, Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, Cole Anthony. You've got some good players at the top, but this is one of the weaker drafts that I can remember seeing, especially through the middle of the draft. I mean, last year you got 2 stars right at the top with Zion and Ja, and then we'll see what happens with the rest of them. But I think the consensus last year was there were a lot of role players in last year's draft, and I don't know if that's the case this year. So if the Thunder want to make the playoffs one last time, I don't think that's going to be too detrimental, with or without Gallinari. I think it could happen.
Well, I'm curious, you said that the middle of the draft isn't that strong, and that may be where the Thunder are picking, it looks like. Let's say, though, for all the people out there who wanted the Thunder to tank and are kind of cursing underneath the breath that the Thunder are doing so well, let's say that the Thunder would have ended up with a top 5 guy like a Wiseman or an Edwards. What are they losing out on? Compare the top of this draft, maybe the top 5 guys, because I think we all know for OKC to be a contender again, you need that elite talent. You need to eventually get those top 5 picks. That's how, the first era of Thunder basketball was so dominant. You got Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, all within the top 5 picks. So when you look at those top 5 guys this year, are the Thunder missing out on a lot of talent, or even the top guys maybe a little bit less than what they've been in past years?
So I wrote about Anthony Edwards today for the site. I think that piece just went live today. He's my favorite prospect in this draft. I mean, he's 6'5", super built. He weighs more than a guy like Obi Toppin, despite the fact that he's 4 inches shorter. He's just a huge bully of a guard and can get to the rim and has a good dribble pull-up game. I think he's the best player in this class. He is that elite small wing, big guard scorer that you would want to put next to a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And actually, when I started looking into Anthony Edwards a couple weeks ago, the Thunder were in the lottery, and It was conceivable that that they trade Schroeder and Gallinari just on December 15th, maybe they'll get a top 7-8 pick, and they can get in, in that point, they could end up winning the lottery, and you can draft Anthony Edwards, and all that was still on the table. So I do think that you are missing out on that. You're missing out on the 8% chance that you would have had to draft a guy like Anthony Edwards. But I don't know. The rest of the draft, Cole Anthony's been disappointing. James Wiseman is a really good center, but he can't shoot. And I just personally have, and not that all centers have to shoot or anything. Rudy Gobert, Andre Drummond are awesome centers that can't shoot. But if you're going to draft a player that can't shoot in 2019 in the top 5, I'll let you do that. I don't want any part of that.
Right.
So I think he would be a good fit on the Hawks, but with Steven Adams, he's still like 26 years old, or somewhere in the mid 20s. I don't think the Thunder were ever going to take James Wiseman in the top 5. So LaMelo Ball, another guy with question marks that you mentioned, but a really dynamic player. I need to take more of a look at him to see how he's done overseas this year. But I don't know. I think Edwards is clearly the number one guy, to answer your question, and it would have been a good fit with Shai. But there's going to be other guys. You got Cade Cunningham next year in the 2021 class, and I'm sure there will be others.
So speaking of a fit for SGA, I think that's probably the biggest, priority for Sam Presti moving forward. When you're looking at young guys, Shai is obviously the building block right now. So who out there do you think that maybe it looks like the Thunder will pick, say, in the mid-teens, let's say 15, 16, 17. Are there any guys around that area that you know of that you're like, okay, this guy obviously is a role player, but for now he would be a nice fit moving forward? Maybe he has some upside around that area?
It's tough. Those kinds of players haven't really surfaced yet, I don't think. You've got a guy like Isaiah Stewart, a big at Washington, that I think is going to be a productive player. Obi Toppin, who I started to kind of dig into today at Dayton, but I don't think, I don't know that he's a lottery guy. Matthew Hurt's been a little bit disappointing at Duke. Those are kind of the mid-teens prospects here that I think, could turn into something, but it's at this point, it's really early to kind of nail those guys down. Even a guard like, like a Nico Mannion, who could end up in the lottery. We don't know where he's going to go yet, but I think it's a little early to start identifying, potential role players that could fit with Shai. I think for, looking ahead to 2020, you want to find a second building block, right?
Right.
I don't think we want to be looking up a year from now and there's not, and, it's still only Shai as being the only guy that you're confident in as being a potential top 3 or 4 player on a contender. And maybe Darius Baisley goes into that, or, somebody else that's already on the roster. Maybe Terrence Ferguson takes a step. But I think that's the number one thing. And this draft may end up being a role player draft. So it'll be interesting to see, if the Thunder are picking 17th and 25th, wherever Denver's pick ends up. So it'll be interesting to see how Sam Presti approaches that.
Out of curiosity, in your opinion, do you think that Shai is good enough already to build around? Do you think that he can be the number one guy moving forward, or do you see him more as a number 2 guy and he needs kind of like a co-captain around him, like a 1A, 1B type of guy? How good, basically, do you think Shai is going forward?
So I think he's a 2. I think he's a shooting guard, and I also think he's the second best player in a contender. But I will say over the last 10 games or so, as Shai's gotten on this hot streak, the door is open for him to become the number one guy. The way that he's played over the last 7, 8, 10 games or so has been pretty eye-opening in terms of his efficiency and just his ability to get to the basket and all that. And I think he's developing as a passer as well. I do think that if you're sketching out the ideal starting 5, the other 4 guys to put around Shai, you want a dynamic point guard who can shoot and can dribble the ball and can take care, most of running the offense. And then Shai comes in as that secondary guy. And then you also want, ideally at the small forward, a switchable guy who can just be a pure scorer. It doesn't have to be Kevin Durant. It doesn't have to be a guy who's 6'10" and, just an automatic 30 points every night. But I do think that, you want other guys around Shai to be able to have a really, really good offense. And then if you get those 3 pieces, your 1, 2, and 3, then the 4 and 5 become a little bit easier, right? You just need kind of a versatile defender, a floor spacer at the 4, and then just a rim protector at the 5. And then you've got a real contender.
And I'm pretty much in line with you. Shai, he was the number 11 pick, and then he had a really nice rookie year. And then, of course, he had that great playoff series with the Clippers against the Warriors where he looked like a guy who could be the guy. and then you come into this season, and it's a little bit tough because he's surrounded by so many other ball handlers, guys. Chris Paul, Schroeder, even Gallo, they can all create their own shot. So it's kind of like I don't feel like Shai has been unlocked until, like you said, the past 10 games or so, and he's putting up 32 points every other game, and he's scoring so efficiently. And, he's got this all-around game. He can shoot from three. His numbers look good there. He finishes at the rim so well. ISO plays. He's like number 3 in the league in efficiency when it comes to ISO plays. So you start to look at things like that, and you can see kind of the potential in his playmaking, even though he hasn't got unlocked there yet because that's kind of Paul's role right now. And he's a two-way player. He's a good defender, and he's only 21, and he's 6'6", and he's got like a 7-foot wingspan. You start to put all those things together, and you can see the potential there. You can see. I think that's tough because when you look at true contenders, those number ones are guys like LeBron, KD, Kawhi, Anthony Davis.
They're all
James Harden, Steph Curry, and you're like, can he be at that level? I mean, that's a stretch, right? I mean, that's a stretch. Those are generational talents, and we don't know. Possibly Shai could reach that point. Compare him to a one like a Donovan Mitchell or a Devin Booker, guys like that. I think he can absolutely be a number one for a team like that. Obviously the Suns, I say Booker, and then the Suns haven't done anything, but obviously he's a great talent. But I think that his floor, this may sound ridiculous, but I think his floor is already going to be like a Donovan Mitchell, that tier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think he can be a one and lead a team to a playoffs as a one. I am curious, though. I don't know that he can reach the true contender as a one, but I think he can lead a playoff team. I think if you get another guy like him, his talent level, and you have two of them, things can start to happen. So yeah, that's the way I look at him. But kind of the sky's the limit with his skill set, his work ethic, and his body, his length, all those things. I don't know.
Yeah.
If he keeps this streak up where he's scoring 32 every other game, maybe a different conversation later in the year. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about going into 2020, what are you kind of most looking forward to with this Thunder team? Sitting in the 7th spot, overachieved so far. What do you see? What are you most looking forward to from this team?
Man, I mean, as long as we're looking towards the playoffs, I mean, and I do think they're going to make the playoffs at this point. I think getting Shai more experience there is going to be really good. I mean, like you said, he played in the playoffs last year, so it's not like this would be his first cup of tea there or anything. But I think that's important, especially as the Thunder look toward probably not making the playoffs for the next 2 years at least, probably 3. And just finally getting this rebuild started, right? Like I think we've all been wanting to kind of jump the gun and rebuild this team, and all of a sudden it's a playoff team. But this summer, I think they're going to have an opportunity to trade Chris Paul, trade Steven Adams if they get a good enough deal. Certainly trade Gallinari if it's a sign-in trade, and I think Schroeder is going to have some value, if not at the deadline, then this summer. So. There's going to be a lot that happens in 2020 that sets up the franchise for the future. And I think it's all exciting to a certain degree.
It's exciting because it's unknown. Preston has so many options, so I'm with you on that. That was Spenser Davis, sports writer for the Dallas Morning News, host of Pod on the Prairie podcast, and contributor to Daily Thunder. Thanks so much, Spenser, for being on the show. Thank you so much for listening and for supporting Daily Thunder. If you leave us a review in Apple Podcasts, we'll read that on the show. You can follow our guest, Jesse James Larch, at Jesse Larch, and Spenser Davis at Davis_Spenser. And you can follow me at Brandon Rahbar as I cover the Thunder Beat in person. This podcast is produced by Rachael Jamison. You can follow her at Rach James if you want to waste your own time. Send your questions and feedback to dailythunder@gmail.com and stay on dailythunder.com every day to catch the latest Thunder news, recaps, analysis, interviews, and all kinds of nonsense. We'll see you next week.
Well, bye.